You don't have the 4-beverage girly
Not today.
vibe going on.
I have 2 today. I'll likely have 3 later, but that'll be in the next episode.
Well, it's not going to go down, only up.
Yes, exactly. Welcome back, Trailblazers, for another Talk About It podcast.
Hello.
We are here with
Jenna, aka the Muscle Mommy.
and Vanessa, That Girl Squats. And we are talking, this is a little bonus episode because we were sitting in the kitchen and we were just talking about feelings of overwhelm and execution and feelings of inadequacy and everything in between. So do you want to finish up that thought that you had?
Sure. Okay, so we were talking about
You getting an app for your fitness clients and utilizing another app that you just started using with your current coach.
Yeah, so Chris has an app and it's great. It's easy to use, tracks workouts, diets. You can do your check-ins. Everything is on this app. So it's just really convenient and easy to use. So how long ago did we talk about me getting an app? And
6 months.
yeah. And nothing.
4 months. I think 6 months.
It's probably.
Yeah.
I think 6 is even being generous. Probably like 8. But nothing has happened because I get so much into my groove of prep and I keep hitting this. Prep and routine. And just thinking about taking on something else becomes so overwhelming to me. And then I start to feel like a failure because I don't know what to do. I feel stupid when I get overwhelmed. Because I'm like, what do I do? Where do I go? I don't know where to start. I don't know how to do it. I feel stupid. And then from there, I just won't do. So trying to figure out how to harness that overwhelming feeling. But I have learned that life is a paradox, much of life. So when you're learning something new, you feel stupid, but you're getting smarter. When you're saving money, you feel broke while you're getting richer. When you're working out, you feel weak while you're getting stronger. And so much of everything in life is a paradox. Like in order to get what you want, you have to endure the exact opposite of it. If that makes any sense.
It does, definitely. And what I was going to say to you is that I feel like a lot of people have those feelings of overwhelm, whether or not that is you getting an app for your business or people just starting their fitness journeys, right? Like it's the exact same thing. People get overwhelmed with, oh my God, I want to lose 100 pounds. Like, how am I going to do it? Oh my goodness. Like that seems so much. How, like, then I have to start this routine. Then I have to like, make sure I stick to the routine because then I'm going to let people down because I told people that I wanted to do this and then I don't know what to do and then I don't start.
Yep.
So I think that feeling is very valid.
Yeah, I think most of us feel that way in some regard or another.
Same thing with the podcast too, right? Like we talked about it in the last episode of I wouldn't have done this if it was just me. But now that I have you involved, then I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Right. Easy peasy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I feel the same way. Yeah.
And sometimes that does mean, okay, now you're getting comfortable with the app. So whenever you start adopting it for your own, you'll be like, ooh, I liked how he did it here. So let me implement something similar. Like, obviously, you're not going to copy something verbatim.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the podcast. Like, we can get ideas from other podcasts that we listen to, like, love, and we want to emulate portions of that. But then we also do things differently. We are not the same people. So we're not going to have the same experiences. So we're not going to have the same insight that another podcast, because there's a million podcasts out here that are talking about self-improvement, fitness, bodybuilding, mindset, whatever, but each and every single person is going to have a different experience. And I think the biggest thing is now trying to figure out how to navigate that overwhelm
Mm-hmm.
with however it looks, right?
Yeah, try not to fight the current.
Mm-hmm.
Just flow with it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Are you an ocean girly?
I loathe the ocean.
Why?
It is so scary.
Yes.
You don't know what's in there.
Yes.
Right? Or don't they say, no, I don't know if this is accurate, but that we know more about space than we do our own ocean?
Yes.
Or we've explored more than, how do we even measure that? Do we know how far space goes?
No.
But we know how big our Earth is.
Yeah.
Like,
but we don't know how deep it is. But I feel like
we know, like,
it's somewhat measurable. Yeah.
I have no clue how any of this works, but I do know that there's some freaky stuff in the ocean that we don't know about. Like, I feel like we haven't found everything.
No, we haven't.
And why do they call it discover? You don't discover something new. It's been existing. It's just new to us. Like,
well, because you're discovering it, right?
For the first time. Well, it's like when Christopher Columbus discovered America. He didn't discover anything. Like, people were inhabiting America. Like, what? The Native Americans are like, bro, we've been here. I'm like,
this is not new, sir.
You're an intruder.
Yeah. Yes.
But no, I'm not an ocean girly. Are you? Yeah? No?
I don't know. I think I love the water. I was a water baby. I was in swim, water polo. I was actually able to swim before I could walk. So that's always been a comfort place for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the ocean is scary. And I don't like sand because the sand gets in your ass, in your coochie, in ungodly places. And it's uncomfortable and it hurts. So I do not like that.
You're like cleaning out sand from bags in your car for like months.
Yes. And then there's like, I don't like the dirty oceans, but I do like clean oceans. So like
the ones that you can kind of see through.
Yeah.
Or see in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then those are still scary.
Because then you can see them.
You can see them. Yes. But I liked it. Like we went to Hawaii. I went to Hawaii with my best friend, Melanie. And I have a couple stories for that one too. Okay. So beautiful. And I remember there was like one of the days we went to like do this like scuba diving and like paddle boarding, like boat adventure excursion, and getting there was like a shit show. But we get there and then they have like these paddle boards. Mind you, I've never paddle boarded. Have you ever paddle boarded?
Yes, in Austin.
What kind of boat was it? Or like what kind of board was it? Was it heavy? Was it?
I'm pretty strong, so no, just kidding. I don't know. It wasn't like an inflatable one. It was.
Was it like styrofoam?
You know what? I didn't pick it up. It was already in the water.
Mm.
Like we just got on it and like started to paddle.
But did it look heavy duty?
It looked, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like one of those rentable ones.
Mine was not. Mine was styrofoam.
Oh no.
In the ocean.
I was just immediately picturing one of those like styrofoam coolers.
Yes. Pretty much. So we get on these, mind you, we cannot stand on it for the life of us. We like keep getting on, falling in, and keep getting on, falling in.
Right. They're not sturdy.
Yeah, they're not sturdy because it was styrofoam. Then we're like, okay, fine. We'll just get on like our knees and we'll be happy there. But we felt like a failure. I felt like a failure because I'm like, and I still haven't been real paddleboarding, like where you stand, like that's the name. It's in the name. It's called sup boarding, right? Because it's stand up paddleboarding. No standing happened.
I did not know that's what that stood for.
Yeah. And so we get on it. We're finally going. And I got full on castaway. It like took me out. And I was just like, and I'm like fucking like paddling my way back because I'm terrified. And I just keep getting farther and farther. Eventually I made it and I was exhausted. But I saw a turtle. like a little family turtle, and it was so cute because it was like clear. I was like, oh, how cute! I'm dying. Like, going.
That little breath of hope
Yes.
amidst death.
Yes.
Or feeling like you're gonna die.
Yes.
I went a couple of friends.
Mhm.
I invited a group of girls out a couple of years ago to go paddle boarding when I was trying to make, build a community, right?
Can we do that this summer?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I would love to.
A group Trail of Champions, like paddleboarding.
Oh, we could do like a Friday flow in Austin.
Yeah.
A huge group of us. So we get out there and my one friend, Sarah, goes, oh, I can't swim. And I was like, what? Like, you came out, you can't swim? Like, that's a hazard. So
no.
we got, I think it was one of those like kick ones.
Oh, okay.
What are those called?
Like the boats?
Yeah.
Like the swan boats or like,
yeah.
Okay.
I feel like that's what we did. I have a horrible memory, but I know we did not put her in like, she tried.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought it was so courageous that she was like, I can't swim, but I'm going to.
No.
And at the same time, I was like, wait a minute. We need to switch this up. So I think we went back and put her in a regular boat. And
that's dangerous.
Yeah.
So I told you I listened to like Reddit stories.
Yeah.
Which I do think that it would be a lot of fun to incorporate into like one of our segments if you're down.
Absolutely.
Sorry. But there's this one that I just heard and it was like, am I the asshole for leaving my friend at the Grand Canyon hike when she told me to? Like,
she told you to leave her?
Yeah.
There?
Like, so apparently the woman, there's three girls in the story. Two have been planning this Grand Canyon trip for like a year. Then this other friend was like, oh, like I'm fit. I do CrossFit. I like have abs. Can I join you? Like I can do it. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like, she was like, sure, if you want, like just feel free to join us, whatever. The night before, the two girls were like carb loading and like eating pasta, making sure that they had the energy. They packed their bags in the morning with like water and snacks and stuff. The night before, the night before, the CrossFitter just had salad. And then I don't know what she did with like her, if she even packed her bag, whatever. But like halfway down, they're like, hey, like, we're not going to get to our projected mark. Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back? Do you want to keep going? She's like, oh, no, like leave. It's fine. I'll catch up with you guys. And she's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, sure. Like, just leave. I'll be fine. So they make it down to the bottom. They don't see her like anywhere. They keep trying to call her, but they don't get anything because there's like no service.
Right.
And then they like wait until like 3 in the afternoon the next day to go to the next spot and then like head up. Still nothing. So still don't hear anything.
So they left her overnight.
Mm-hmm. So then they told like the hiking people, the park rangers, like, hey, look out for this girl. Let us know, like, if you get in contact with her because we can't like get in contact with her. So then they go back to the hotel. They stay another night and then leave, and they leave a voicemail saying, hey, like, we've been waiting for you. And it was like 10 p.m. at night. So they're like, hey, we need to get to the next spot. I'll pay for your Uber to meet us at the hotel whenever we get to the hotel. Like, just let me know like what it is and I'll get you covered because we're obviously leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And then that next day, the lady called and she's like cussing them out. She's like, how could you leave me? Like, I had heat stroke. It took me 13 hours to hike back up on my own. I had to go to like the EMT, like pick me up and took me down. So that's why she had to like hike back up on her own that next day. And then, yeah. So I was just like, that is just very irresponsible. It made me like connect the two of like, I can't swim, meaning I can't swim for the paddleboarding, or I haven't hiked or planned on hiking like you should not be putting yourself into these like situations.
Yeah.
Smart of you for like saying, let's not put you in a battle.
Yeah. She tried for a little bit, but we thought that the beginning of the lake was shallow. Right. But still people can fall in and freak out, you know, and
you can drown very easily.
Yeah.
Dry drowning is very prevalent.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like if you're really like in that situation, it's like if they were like planning and preparing, I would have like flat out been like, no.
Yeah.
Like we've been planning and preparing that this isn't like a, you know, you can just hike.
That's like me saying, hey, I want to do the Olympia with you.
Right. You're like, well, I've been training for 9 years.
Yeah.
But
very different.
Well, that and Grand Canyon is seriously dangerous. Because
it's a canyon.
Yeah.
It's grand.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize in those elements, you're sweating. Now, this is coming from like novice information. Like I don't have extensive knowledge on this, but I did go to the Grand Canyon once and there's lots of warning signs. Like you don't realize that you're sweating because it's so dry out there. So as you sweat, it just evaporates. And so you have to have like copious amounts of water, your snacks. And somebody that's a hiker on like growing up, I used to hike a lot in Western North Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah, but I never went on like overnight trips or anything. So, but then on the other side of things, I met somebody and he was like he was telling me like, yeah, I was talking to my wife and I really wanted to go hike the Appalachian Trail. And she was like, well, go. Like, go and have fun. Go do it. And he planned for 1 month and then went out there and hiked the entire thing.
Wow.
By himself.
Wild.
With no experience. And I was like,
it's possible.
It's possible, but
his body was probably beat to shit after.
Yeah, and he hiked the entire thing.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, I don't know. I think in that situation, yeah, the friends are the assholes.
Yeah, for sure. You are not the asshole. Because you were smart about it and you took on her as a liability / like responsibility. Because whenever you do trips, no matter what you guys are doing, like you do have especially on hiking trips, like you partner and you do not leave somebody alone.
Never.
Same thing if you're going out, like say you're traveling to a different country with a friend or even a different state with a friend, you don't leave that person.
Yeah.
Unless they're like trying to get laid.
Yeah. Sock on the door.
Conversation.
You know what? We put her in a kayak. That's what it was. She got a kayak and she was a lot more secure.
Yeah. Those still tip over.
But they do, but at least it was like the calm lake. There wasn't a whole bunch of boats and, you know. So
not in the ocean.
Not
on a surfboard.
Yeah.
So my other story with that one is when we finally got to Hawaii, you know, it's like a long trip to like fly there. We finally get there. The house that we were staying at was right on the water. And so we're like, fuck it. Like, let's just go in. And like, it wasn't like super pretty water, but it was just like, it was like a bay, you know, we go in, we're all like running, having fun. And we hear, and we're like, and we just see something and we're like, what the fuck is that? And so we just like we ran back to the house because could have been a shark. It could have been a whatever. I don't know. We think now it was a turtle, but it scared us. Next morning, Melanie goes on for her like morning walk and she sees man-o-wars, which are some of the deadliest jellyfish. And it was like the entire, like it was a colony and we're just in that bay and we're like, that could have been dangerous.
See, and like you wouldn't know that because you're, you know, like tourists having fun and whatever. And the locals were like, don't go.
Yeah. Don't
to
do
the bay. It's breeding season or some shit. And you would have never known.
Yeah. We got very lucky.
Yeah, you did.
Very lucky. So that being said, the ocean is very scary.
Yeah, so scary.
There's a lot of unknowns, but it's also very beautiful.
It's a respect thing. Well, we can't survive in it.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like we are not at the top of the hierarchy there, right? Yeah, the food chain. Like we will drown. We will die. We cannot survive in water.
Not even billionaires can survive in the
No,
ocean.
they cannot. Yep.
Was that last year or was that like 2 years ago? Like when the submarine people?
Yeah, they just found it too.
Yeah.
They found the remnants of it by Titanic. If I'm not mistaken. I think I saw that clip. They found the...
That's eerie.
Yeah, right?
I don't know if I like that.
Right. It's kind of...
Don't go there. How about you just don't do that? Like,
people are brave.
can we talk about... I'm going to talk about it in the future. You don't have to talk about your experiences in the past. But, like, extracurriculars that I've taken in the past while having fun, like party drugs.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a time in my 20s where I would go to my friend's house and we would be like, you know, having fun of the hallucinogenic variety. And we would always turn on the ocean, like, you know, like the Ocean Life Netflix videos.
Mhm.
I loved it. So I love it. I think it's beautiful. I love scuba diving. I just, well, snorkeling. Snorkeling was what we did. And then scuba diving. Since then, Melanie got really into scuba diving. She's a scuba diving instructor. So I just went over to see her in August. And then she taught me how to scuba dive. I'm going to get scuba diving certified.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because I do want to do more of that because it's so pretty. And seeing underneath is beautiful, but it's also scary.
So I'm all about facing fears.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to like dive with sharks because I think that it would be so scary.
Yes.
So I'm like, if anything, I'm scared of. I'm like, I got to do it. Like I also have like a debilitating fear of flying over open water.
Oh.
Ever since I was a little girl, like my first dream, it was a reoccurring dream, the same dream over and over and over and over of an airplane just like disintegrating mid-air, like tearing apart.
Terrifying.
Yeah. So that is why I've never flown over open water. But I also don't have like I have no strong desire, and maybe this sounds really like makes me colorless to say this, or I have no desire to travel.
Okay.
I have zero desire to see other parts of the world. Like, I don't care to go to Italy or France or see the Eiffel Tower. Like, I just don't crave that.
What do you crave?
Well, I don't know if it's that because of that fear that's impending that desire. It's like, oh, I don't want that because this is in between it.
Yeah.
You know?
Have you flown anywhere? Well, yeah, you had to fly to Vegas.
Yeah. Yeah, I've flown a lot.
Where?
But all in the nation. California, Washington, New York.
But you... Okay.
I've been all over the world, or the nation, the states. But that desire to see things, like I said, I don't know if it's because I have that fear.
Probably. And chances are you've probably flown over water and like not known it, because it's not like you get to choose where the plane is going exactly, and they have weird routes.
I have before, like California, like we had to swoop across the ocean to circle back, and that whole entire time my heart was like up here.
Oh.
I was like, I'm gonna die. Sorry guys, this is my vision.
Oh no. Did you ever watch Grey's Anatomy?
Okay, yeah, in high school. I'm showing my age. Yeah, for briefly, but not the. I
did not the whole thing.
No, because I lost interest after like I don't know how many seasons.
They're like 24. Right
yeah,
now,
and I think it was like
ridiculous.
the third one. I was like,
I love it. They have a big airplane crash, which is what I was gonna talk about if you got the reference, but you don't.
No, but I just started watching Lost.
I've been wanting to watch that,
yeah.
But I also don't know if I want to. Are you afraid of anything else?
Open water, sharks, and alligators.
Same. I feel like I've been getting more and more scared of thunderstorms.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We had one last night, and I just have this
Maybe that's why I slept so good, actually.
That's so funny. I have this especially if I've taken a CBD or whatever, gummy at night. at that point, like, my anxiety is high anyways. I'm like, I'm a failure. I'm not doing good enough. Like, blah, blah, blah. Everything bad's going to happen. Like,
intrusive thoughts.
yes, I have all these things. And whenever that happens, and then a thunderstorm happens, I'm like, a thunder lightning bolt is going to come straight through this house, and then I'm going to die. I just have these things.
See, and that's why I don't like smoke weed, because I get those intrusive, and it gives me severe anxiety, and I start thinking the craziest shit.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm outside, I'll be like, oh, like the aliens could attack us. Like, at any moment in time, something could fall out of the sky and just kill me. Like, I think crazy things. So, and I've talked to like habitual smokers, or, you know, and they're like, well, you just got to get past that. And I'm like, no, that sounds like counterintuitive. Like,
no,
I feel like this is my body saying, pump the brakes. Like, you don't need to be doing that.
Yeah.
But so if you know, like, it causes you anxiety, but you still choose.
It doesn't always.
So it just depends.
It depends on, like, that's why I'm very selective of whenever I do it. Or, like, if I'm just trying to relax and enjoy myself, whatever. So, I wasn't planning on there being a thunderstorm last night, and it scared me.
Right, okay.
So, sometimes it's just, like, it happens.
It happens. Yeah.
And then it just sounds so scary at this house. It's like, and then it's like, I have to stay calm because then it scares dog too. And she's like, and I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. So we're just like cuddling.
Being each other's support animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Support, group there.
And then it doesn't help that, like, Eli's like, whoa, wow. I'm just,
and you're like, you're not helping me.
That was big. It was almost going to hit the house. I'm like,
that's so funny. I woke up, like, I'm up every day at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. So I go out to leave for work, and the ground's all wet. And I'm like, oh, did it storm last night? So that's probably why I slept good. I didn't hear a thing.
And also, like, here is very different than...
Oh, yeah. It's crazy how, like, one part of town will get slammed and the other one will be like,
yeah,
got a couple drops.
Yeah.
But they were like puddles.
Yeah. Here, like, it'll fill up the thing. And that's another thing that I think of, is that, like, we have a little dam over here, and then I'm like, my house is going to get flooded. And then I think I've always had this underlying fear of rain because I grew up in Houston, and there was always floods. And so I've lost a lot of houses. I've lost a lot of things.
Well, you've seen the devastation.
Exactly. And so whenever I moved to California, I was so taken away from that. Like, there was rain, but it wasn't anything crazy. Like, if anything, it was more of windstorms than anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm from Asheville, right? And so a couple months ago, they got hit with Hurricane Helene. Mm-hmm. And that wiped people out. I mean, entire cities, just non-existent. Like, does not exist. Like, Chimney Rock is an area, like, very big tourist area. You could hike the actual rock. Chimney Rock still exists, right? But the town, gone. And these people did not.
We have Britt coming back.
Britt's coming in.
And Mo.
Hey, Mo. But these people, the community, they weren't warned of this.
Yeah.
It was like literally the night before the storm. It had already started storming. And then the emergency, your emergency notification, like, take high ground or whatever. And I talked to my friend afterwards. And he was like, I made it into town. Now, mind you, these people are in the mountains. So, like, it wiped out roadways, like, gone. Yeah. So they couldn't get off mountains. They couldn't get into town. Power, water, all gone. And he told me, like, a couple of, like, I want to say like 5-6 days later, he was like, yeah, I finally made it into town. He was like, I rolled my windows down and it just smelled like death. Oh, they were finding bodies in trees. And every time I get on Facebook, it's very sad. And now every time I get on Facebook, it'll be like, we just found so-and-so. Now this is a month later.
Yeah.
And they're still finding people buried.
That's terrible.
And they won't find everybody.
Yeah.
They won't, because they're buried mudslides. I mean,
Yeah.
you know those big shipping containers?
Yeah.
Right? I saw a video where the mudslide came and it's carrying one of these shipping containers and it wraps around a bridge and it just crumbles like tinfoil. That's how powerful this water is.
Yeah.
And just the devastation
Yeah.
is unreal.
Well, that was kind of like, so Santa Cruz was 30 minutes from where I lived. And in my last place that I lived in, California, and they would always have mudslides. And I love Santa Cruz so much, but then it was always such a gamble going because people would get stuck there or people would get deceased, unalived. And so then that was always like a terrifying thing too. Nature is so beautiful, but it's just scary.
Yeah, you have to have like a lot of respect for it. That's like we had the snowstorm here in San Antonio years ago, and I was living South Texas, like an hour outside of San Antonio in the small town called Dilley. And where I lived is you could see the highway.
Oh, that one died. It's fine. This one could.
Okay. And so I was watching, like where it was living, you could see the highway and people had no respect for the ice. And so they were hauling ass. And then bridges are known to freeze first because of the wind going around them. And they were not respecting the ice and they were just tumbling down hills. Like I would sit there and watch and it was like one car, they were just tumbling off the bridge. Now, thankfully, nobody got like seriously hurt. But we forget to respect the elements, you know?
Do you have any? So what we were talking about before you got in was just fears. Like we were talking ocean. I've just recently become more aware of my fear of the rain and like thunderstorms, which I feel like I've talked to you a little bit about in the past too. And that was how we got here. Yeah. But you talk and I'm going to grab something really quick.
Okay. Well, I'm from Chicago, so like the snowmageddon that happened in San Antonio. I remember when it happened, I was like, "This is nothing. This is no big deal." But then I quickly realized, kind of what you're saying is these people that don't know how to drive on ice. So I was afraid to like leave the house because of them. Like it wasn't like I didn't know how to drive.
Yeah.
Know? So that, and I can remember being in Chicago and like driving on black ice. You never get used to it.
You're always aware. And
you're always hyper aware of it. And I'm just like, okay, at any given moment, I can like spin out if I'm not careful, if I'm not conscious. And it gave me so much anxiety, like driving, because the city didn't shut down. Like we kept moving about our life because it was just a normal thing. And I can remember being there like, I don't want to deal with this shit long term. Like I have to get out of here. Like I have to move somewhere where I don't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of respect for snow. I lived in Seattle and I was always deathly afraid of the big one. Have you heard about this?
No.
So Seattle is overdue for a big earthquake. And I'm afraid of earthquakes because I've never experienced like earthquakes before in my life.
Yeah.
I lived like in the Midwest, South, East Coast kind of places. Never anywhere that had earthquakes. So they were like, oh, they would have these commercials that would come on TV and it's like, don't be scared, be prepared. And it was just like this emergency stuff you had to do in the case of an earthquake. You couldn't get to your family. The guy I was dating at the time was like, we need a bug out kit. I'm like, oh, what? He was like, in case
a bug out bag.
Yeah. He was like, in case some shit happens and the earthquake hits and we're without all this stuff, we need to be able to make it. I'm like, how is this even a thing that we are concerned about? Like, and I remember driving there, all these bridges, and I was always kind of like in my head, like, oh shit, what if there's like a big earthquake and I'm on the middle of this bridge, in the middle of this like water, like what's gonna happen? So earthquakes, I do not fuck with earthquakes. Anywhere that's like earthquake prone.
Well, you can prepare for certain things, but
yeah, there's no notice. Like hurricanes, you can prepare for. Like you kind of know they're coming.
Yeah.
But an earthquake, it's just like, all right, I think it's like 5 minutes. Isn't it like 5 to 8 minutes?
Yeah.
They could tell you. But by then, if you're in your car on a bridge,
stuck in traffic.
Yeah, what are you supposed to do? Like, okay, buckle up, hope for the best.
Right. That's like those end of the world movies.
Yeah. No.
Yep. Yep. I get it. Well, in the snowstorm here, it's like we'll never be prepared because the infrastructure Texas. Here, we don't have the equipment. We don't have the infrastructure. Our pipes aren't buried deep. Yeah. They're pretty shallow, buried shallow. And that's why everybody had their pipes bursting. Like, they're like, make sure you leave your lines dripping, and people didn't take that shit seriously. It's like, you've got to, because all that stuff expands and explodes. Everybody, like, there are so many pipes burst. My neighbor's pipe burst. They were coming over getting water from me. And
I remember, so that was Valentine's Day weekend.
Yep.
And Eli and I went and we stayed at the Fairmont because my friend Amber gave us like a gift card for the Fairmont. So we're like, oh, let's use it. And so we get there and it was the worst night ever. Like we had an altercation that night. It was like honestly the last big one that we've had. And we were really upset. And then, of course, that night we couldn't go anywhere because everything's closed down because of the freeze. And then on top of that, there was this fucking weather stripping that just kept hitting the window.
Oh, that would have drove me nuts. And you're already pissed off anyway.
And over again the entire freaking night. And then we're like, cool. This is great. We're having a great time. And then we get out of we're leaving the next morning, and people are stuck. They can't even get up because you've both been to the Fairmont before at the Republic show, and you know how steep that parking garage is. Like whenever you get out of it, so it's black ice, and they're like only the like little Corollas that don't have like four-wheel drive. So they're just like spinning their tires.
Yep, you can't.
And they're just going up, and then we're just laughing. We're like, we're used to this because we would drive to Tahoe like that, like constantly. And I also have a 4-wheel drive car, so it was just like easy. But then we're just seeing like all of like the array that was happening from.
Well, even 4-wheel, like you can't create. There's no traction.
Yeah.
So that's where like back home, like people would put chains on their tires.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Those are real common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like even like Asheville when they got hit with that hurricane, we've had flooding there before, but nothing of this magnitude because you're 2,000 plus feet above sea level. It is not common to get hit the way they did. Like it's very, very weird.
Yeah.
So the way that they got hit, it was like just unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very unexpected.
Well, there was that hurricane that hit Houston years ago that was supposed to hit San Antonio. I don't know if you were there, but I don't know if you were here then.
Well, I moved here right before COVID.
When did you move? Okay.
Like to the city, it was right before COVID.
So it was before I moved to Seattle. So it was like during that time. So it had to be before 2018-ish.
Okay.
And it was a hurricane that was set to hit San Antonio. And then it like made a beeline last minute and hit Houston. So a lot of people escaped Houston and came here when it hit because it was so bad there.
Dang.
And like I'll never forget, like here it was nuts. Like you had people wrapped around blocks trying to get gas, food. You went to HEB, it was like shelves are emptied.
Mm-hmm.
Empty. The people just trying to prepare and stuff. They're like, oh my gosh, you got to hunker down. And so I don't know if I can mess with hurricanes either. All that to say,
right?
Yeah,
but it's like
I know. Even though I want to move somewhere tropical one day and live on a beach.
You mentioned the bridges and stuff like that's crossed my mind. I'm like, man, if anything happens in San Antonio, like it's all bridge.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many bridges. All the highways are bridges. It's like
you can't really get anywhere without getting on a bridge somewhere.
That's why I'm trying to develop a 3-mile universe. Mm-hmm. That's my whole goal. I want to be like 3 miles to work, 3 miles to my kid's school, and the grocery store, and that is all I need, baby.
Yep. I feel you 100%.
They just need to get a tanning bed place for when I get close to prep or show. I always get a little base tan. Like that's the only thing I have to travel for right now.
Just put it in your garage. I feel like people are doing that now.
Right? I know, but they're just so not good.
Oh, they're not. I don't know. I don't tan.
Tanning bed.
They're so unhealthy.
Why would you need to do that? I was just talking to Alyssa with Protan, and she was talking about how she actually has in the past like done consulting. We're like, hey, this is how you would do it, like
to prep your skin,
to do prepping the skin, but actually like creating your own tanning business too. So like having it in your house, being able to do it for other people, doing it for yourselves.
Yeah, I like to do a little bit of a base tan because it just gets me darker when they put the coat on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the darker the better on stage.
How many weeks out do you start?
I will only do maybe a month, and I'll start slow, and then it's like 2 to 3 weeks before I'll like ramp it up.
I have a question. Would you guys ever consider doing like melantin? What is that?
No. That stuff you take and it makes your skin dark.
Melanotan, I do that.
You do?
Oh, I love it.
I heard it also like makes you like hornier too.
It increases your libido, it reduces your appetite, and it improves my mood. The worst side effect for me is a little bit of nausea, but I will say that there's not like extended studies on the impact on you like over time, from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also not for human consumption.
Yes.
So that is to be noted. But there's melanotan 1 and 2. Yeah. But there's 1 and 2, and I can't tell you the big differences. I think one of them has like, it's more specific for libido.
Mm-hmm.
But I use it during prep.
Just in prep?
Yeah.
Just for skin darkening purposes, or do you use it for like
other
mood
stuff?
and like, yeah?
I honestly mainly use it for the appetite suppressant.
Oh,
But
so you
there's so
notice,
many
like, a
other
big
peptides that you can
Huge
utilize.
difference. What?
I said there are so many other different peptides that you can utilize for appetite suppressant.
Yeah. So I use that. I use AOD, which is anti-obesity drug.
Mm-hmm.
That's been out for a long time. That really helps too, because my hardest thing is hunger and prep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But melanotan, I'll tell you this, when I first started using it, I didn't realize that if you use too much, it creates dark circles under your eyes, and it looked like I got punched in the face.
Oh, shit.
People would see me, they're like, what happened? And I'm like, I went a little bit too heavy on my dose, because it'll happen like this. And it darkens all of your moles. So the other side effect is, like, if you have skin...
Pigmentation.
Yeah, but if you're prone to skin cancer, I don't want to speak on this too much, but I've heard and told, like, if you're like have a pre-existing or genetic disposition to skin cancer, to be aware of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's with everything out there, there's pros and cons that you need to like educate yourself on and understand the risks that you're taking.
Does your skin go back to its normal color when you stop taking it?
Yes.
So that's why I was afraid to take it, because I'm just like, I know how dark I can get.
Yeah.
Like on my own naturally. I'm just like, if I'm never going to go back, I don't want to.
No, yeah. I'm like, you don't stay the same color.
Oh, okay.
So I would even take like a little dose of melanotan and get in the tanning bed, and I would be like 5 shades darker after like 8 minutes. Like
that fast?
Oh, I left the gym, did the melanotan right before I went into the tanning bed, came back, and one of the coaches there was like, what did you do? And I was like, oh, I just went tanning. He goes, what? I was like, yeah, melanotan. He was like, holy crap. Like, I was dark.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. What's so crazy is my first coach had me in a tanning bed every week for 30 minutes.
What the fuck?
Like 3 months out.
No.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the more
Why?
you know, the more you grow.
Why?
Well,
Why?
Why?
I mean, you
What
did
is the
look a
reason?
little orange. I'm not gonna lie in your like bikini photos.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I look like an Oompa Loompa. Like, that's
Have you
why
seen the
I was
photos?
fucking orange on stage. Yeah, that's why I was orange, because, well, I think for her, like, she hadn't had that many athletes at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And back then, there wasn't all this information that we could get on YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Just wasn't all this info out. And I'm like, okay, whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it. Like,
Right, that blind trust.
That blind trust. We talked about that, right, with your coach. And she is, she's Japanese. So she's very fair-skinned. So I think she was like, oh, I'm doing this. You need to do it too. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm black.
Right.
And she,
Yeah.
like,
So you are?
right? I found out today. Damn. Yeah, and I was just like, are you sure I need to do this? She was like, yeah, because on stage, the lights are so bright, you're going to be too dark, you're going to be too light if you don't. And I was just like, again, trusting, like, okay, whatever you say. Girl, I was in the tanning bed like weekly. I had a membership and everything. Oh, that was my second one. That was bikini.
There was another photo. That,
there's the one where
with
I'm
your
orange as
trophy.
hell.
Yeah, that's the one that I was looking for.
I'll show you that.
Well, now they have beds that are supposedly a little bit more healthy. Like, they're not so strong in the bad rays, so that it's only like the good rays. So like, I pay for a membership to Palm Beach, and I get access to like the high quality beds that you can only, like, when you start, you can only start for 5 minutes. And the max, and the max you can go is 12, but it's because they're like just so powerful, but it's all the good rays. And I think that the tanning beds have come a lot further, that they're not the ones that you lay down. And I don't know about y'all, but I did the whole sticker thing when I was in high school.
I wanted to, and I never did it.
Yeah. And those are like the bad beds as compared to now.
Mm-hmm.
They've come a lot further.
Okay, so on the left, that's me in bikini. You can see I'm literally the same color as the wall behind me, and the wall is fucking orange. Okay,
You do
I was
blend.
just sitting here like, Hey,
Yeah, because I was like, is that just her like peachy? Like, is that just her?
no,
Like as a suit.
no, absolutely not. It
Like
was
your little cheekies.
yeah. Well, I had to put on that blush because I was so dark. I was
Yeah.
orange, like nothing showed up, and like it was a shit show.
The more you know.
Thank you. The more you know, the more you grow. That's the motto. All right, I gotta head out to me.
Okay,
You want to keep him?
if he wants.
Okay.
She's got to head out. She's like we said, she's gonna pop in, pop out every once in a while. But honestly, on that note, do you want to close out this episode and then we
Yeah.
can start the next one?
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And follow us on Instagram at
The Muscle Mommy.
That Girl Squats and trail.of.champions. Leave us any questions, comments, concerns,
Feedback. Whatever you want. Suggestions.
topics. If you guys want us to start doing those Reddit posts, we are super down.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
That would be a lot of fun. I feel like it would be really fun to like just have our takes. And then making sure that you follow us on those channels so then you can see when we do have our next events coming up.
Yes.
So-
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned, be safe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.